Hi, welcome to episode 88 of the PassionKnit Spinner podcast. My name is Tracy. You can find me as Schnüffeltier on Ravelry and Instagram. There is a Ravelry group for the podcast. Please come over and join. And thank you so much for being here. I noticed yesterday that I crossed the 1800 subscriber number, bridge, whatever, on YouTube. So thank you so much for subscribing to my podcast. And also, today or tomorrow, not quite sure, in the first week of December for sure, is my podiversary. And I started this podcast 3 years ago when I was pregnant with Tim. So yeah, it's been quite a while. And it's been a good while, mostly. I had a lot of nice encounters with people through this podcast. So thank you so much. Okay, now what I'm wearing. I am wearing the Washington Square cardigan. It is out of alpaca yarn. I'm going to show you what it looks like and then I'm going to take it off because the sun is hitting me and then we had to put up blankets to block it out, but it is really warm. So here it is. This is the Washington Square cardigan. The pattern is by Melissa Valley. It is in her book Metropolitan Knits. I'm going to show it to you in a second. The back is plain stockinette. It's nice and long. The sleeves actually are so long that I had to fold the cuff over because they were super long. And yeah, that's the cardigan. I am in love with it and I'm gonna, like I said, take it off because it is so warm. I can't. I'm melting. So now cardigan. Okay, better. So here is the original. That is the original. It's called Washington Square cardigan, like I said. The original is knit with Cascade Eco Wool, which is way thicker than the yarn that I use. So I did a gauge swatch, I did some math, and I did knit the largest size in a book, which is for a 50.5-inch bust. I have a 38-inch bust. So I did the math and I came up with the numbers that suggested I should knit this size. And as you could see, it worked wonderfully. So this is the book, Metropolitan Knits. Here's the name of the designer. It's a great book. I like almost everything in here. So if you don't have it, you should take a look at this. I knit my cardigan with Stoppelwolle Baby Alpaca Naturbelassen, which is a German yarn, if you couldn't tell. But it is discontinued. I'm sorry, but it's discontinued. It was also my oldest yarn in my stash. I've had this for over 10 years. So I'm quite happy that I managed to get this cardigan knit out of this yarn because it's wonderful. It's, like I said, extremely warm because alpaca is just warm. That's what alpaca is. It's warm. And yeah, I knitted with a US 9 5.5mm needle. It was a very fast and very enjoyable knit. So it's great. Now for the next finished thing. I finished the Deckard vest by Katja Frankel. This is for Tim, of course. Its pattern is in this book. It's called Boys Knits. It was put out by Cooperative Press, and I'm not sure if they still exist, but I'm sure you can get the pattern on Ravelry. So this is the Deckard vest. It's just, you know, it's a vest with a hoodie. It fits like a glove. It's the perfect size. I knit the size 6T, and because of my gauge and how tight I knit this fits him. So it's more like a 3T. And the zipper is white because I had this zipper. That's the reason. I didn't want to go out and buy a zipper because zippers in this length that are divisible, you know, or dividable or whatever it is, that you can open up. I do not need zippers this length ever. So I used this zipper for this vest and it's perfect. I used the leftovers of my Ideas cardigan, which is Barocco Vintage Chunky. I knitted with a US 10.5, a 6.5mm needle, everything according to pattern. And I'm going to show the book again. This is the book, Boys Knits by Katja Frankel. And the pattern is called Deckard Vest. It's in here as a cardigan here, but the 2 pages over, it tells you how to make this one a vest. So this is what I did because I didn't have enough for sleeves, I thought, And then I had enough to knit a hat out of the leftover yarn. So I could have done sleeves probably, but better on the safe side. So that's it for knitting in the past. I do have stuff for knitting in the present, quite a bit actually, because I was in a cast on mood. And I did cast on a lot of things. So the first thing I'm going to show is the Cozy Cuppa Mittens by Lindsay Goodall. This is the front page from the pattern. It is a free pattern on Ravelry, or at least it was when I printed it out. I'm not sure if it still is. If it was an introduction stuff, I'm not sure. But it's the Cozy Cuppa Mittens. You can see there's a leaf motif and then a cup with some swirlies and not sure what that is on top. And I decided to knit it out of yarn that I just bought. And I'm using this yarn. And I think I don't have a single label to show to you. This holds also my needles right now. This yarn is Toft DK. It is amazing. So this is my main color. And then I had bought 3 contrast colors. I got this at the Knitting and Stitching show in Dublin. And so this is the yarns that I'm using. I'm also using 4mm needles. It's a US 6. They are in here. So that's the yarn. And I finished the first mitten minus the thumb. So there's a little waste yarn thing going on. And you can see on this side already that my gauge isn't perfect. I'm not very good at color work. You know, I've only done 3 or 4 color work projects. So yeah, that's my mitten. It's the first one. I think it turned out quite okay. It could be worse, I think. And it does fit, you know. It's the right mitten, of course, because, you know, because of the thumb placement. And my hand fits in nicely. So this is it. It's of course not blocked yet. I'm going to block these as soon as they as soon as I have a second one and they have thumbs, I'm going to block them. And I think it will even out my color work quite a bit because, you know, if I stretch it, you can already tell that it's going to be a bit more even. But all in all, I'm very happy with this. And the yarn, oh God, this is so soft. I don't see why you would crochet toys out of this. Really, I don't. I think this needs to be clothes. So nice and so soft. So yeah, it's my first mitten, the Cozy Cuppa Mittens pattern. And I am in a very big color work mood. I want to knit all the color work. So I hope to finish the second one soon and start a new project with color work. So yes, these are 25 grams each. And as you can see, I already knit one mitten and I have that much left. So there will be other color work projects with these yarns because I have so much left. It just would be a waste. Now I need that. I'm gonna put them over here. Good. The next thing I am working on, and this is my wonderful project basket that I'm using for this, is the Batat by Stephen West. And I've seen the pattern, of course, on Ravelry because, you know, everything that Stephen West does is seen by people. And I never really was interested in it, to be honest. But then, when I was at the knitting retreat last week, my friend wore one. And I thought, this is a very, very wonderful piece of accessory clothing. So here it is. This is what it looks like. In his description, he says that he was inspired by the rice terraces in Cambodia, maybe. So yeah, that's what I use. And then I went looking for yarn, and I couldn't quite decide what I wanted. And I came up with actually 3 color combinations that I really liked, and I started 2 of them because I'm crazy. So here's the first that I started. It looks like this. I have completed 3 of the color wedges, and I am on the welt. There are welts here, so you can see it's not a big surprise or a secret. Welts and garter stitch wedges. So that's the first one. And the second one, I am at the 3rd garter stitch right now. So let me show you. These are the colors that I'm using for number 1. And the interesting thing, I'm gonna show the second one first before I talk about this, the fun stuff. So this is the second one. Very different colors, because you know, if you want to make one thing twice, you should just make sure that they're a bit different. And the fun part is I got 2 skeins of yarn as a gift from, I think Mary sent those to me in the beginning of the year. And I always thought that I wanted to use these together, and it's these two, the blue and the brown orange color. And they are Palouse Yarn Company. They're American 8-ply 8. So this is the yarn band. So I got these 2 skeins as a gift. And they are the skeins or yarns that I use for the welts. And then I went looking for contrast yarn to use with my welts. And I came up with these 2 skeins. And they are actually my only 2 skeins of On the Round top yarn. So these are knit out of the exact same yarns. And I found these. I have a little hanger in my room, like the one you use for fruit in your kitchen. I have one of those in my yarn room or in my craft room. And all of these skeins were in that hanger. And they just are so perfect for this project that I had to use those together. Isn't that a wonderful, happy coincidence? I mean, they are perfect. And they go so great together for this project that I just had to do it. So I will have a brownish one and a blue-green one. And yeah, these will go with almost everything, I think. So that's the Batat by Stephen West with my wonderful yarn coincidence. Good. Next thing on my needles is a scarf for my son. We were getting him dressed for going outside because it's winter, you know, it's cold. We have a lot of snow. It's wonderful. And he was putting on his scarf that I made last year, and it is a blue, very elongated triangle that has a slit on the big side, and at the point I did a small stuffed star, so he can put it around his neck and put the star through a slit, and it stays there. And he decided that he needed a new scarf, so I'm knitting a new scarf. And it looks like this right now. It's not very exciting, you know, it's a 1x1 rib scarf. It's one of the most boring things you can knit, but the yarn is quite exciting. This yarn that I started with is Mirasol Miski. It's 100% baby llama. It's very soft and nice. And the yarn I'm currently knitting with is this yarn, or that I've just finished. I have no idea what this is. Actually, these two were wound in one skein, so I thought they were, it would be, you know, a stripy skein. I think I got this in a yarn club as a thank you for being a club member. And I think it's something alpaca merino. It's a single. So these 3 are the yarns that I'm using for the scarf. I used half of this and I used half of the colorful stuff. Now I'm going to use all of this and then half of this and half of this. And I'm going to have the scarf look like this in the end. Okay, I am out of fingers now. So this is what it will look like. Can you imagine? I think it's going to be nice. It's going to be very soft for sure. So yeah, that's the scarf for the kid. I have only one label because, like I said, the single is a mystery yarn. No idea what it is. But this is the label for the Mirasol Miski. And as you can see, it's a baby llama, spun in Peru, and it's a very thick yarn. So I'm knitting this with straight needles from Dayak Crafts, which are the best needles. I love those. And I got those last year and I have not had a chance yet to use them because they're just, you know, for a scarf. And now I'm using them for a scarf and I'm quite happy about this. So, yay! And also I'm using up 2 single 50-gram skeins that I had no idea what to use for something useful. Good. Now, I did not bring this one thing. Shit. I will stand up because it is over there. I just have to get a basket because I am working on my Cozy Memories sock yarn blanket. or at least I did knit 2 squares on it, and I wanted to show them. So my sock yarn blanket is, I'm actually not really calling it a cozy memories blanket. It's my PassioKnit sock yarn blanket because I'm the PassioKnit spinner, and it is in a wooden a basket, just a basket. So I did knit 2 squares, I think. No, 3 actually. I finished this square. I had this started, and then I knit this and this. All those leftovers were from friends. I am working on a square right now. That's why I can't really show you anything. But I am knitting my squares on ChowGoo straights. They are US 3.25 millimeter needles, because I'm a very tight knitter and I want my blanket not to be super stiff. So this is the needle, and it is a 7-inch length, and it's perfect. And if you want to know how I'm knitting my squares, I did write that down on my project page on Ravelry. And it is getting quite big. So that's what I'm knitting on right now. So this is what it looks like right now. And I am really happy with it. All the yarns in here I used only once. So there's no repeat square. They're all just in once. And yeah, I'm just gonna knit until I decide that I don't want to knit on it anymore, and I'm gonna put on a border. That's my plan. And while I was knitting my blanket, I just got in the mood for knitting blankets, which is good because it's Advent, and I do have the Opal Advent calendar. And I started a blanket with it. It is in my own PassioKnit spinner project bag that I made last year for Christmas. That's my Christmas bag from last year. And I'm also using my own pattern. So I am using this pattern. It's called Buster. And it is actually a baby blanket. The pattern is by me. The postman just rang the door, so my husband will come down the stairs. I'm sorry for the noise. It's a free pattern on Ravelry. It's a pattern by me. It's a baby blanket with a knit from the center out with like a chevron border. So this is the actual pattern. I'm only using it for the middle part, so I can knit my squares from the inside out. That's it. So today's skein looks like this. They are 15-gram mini skeins, and I'm just knitting them when they come. I knit them up. I have knit the first square up to 44 stitches per side. So this was the first one, and I had about that much yarn left. I could have knit 2 more rounds, but I wasn't sure about how big the other skeins would be, so I stopped. Thank God. So that's the first, December 1st. And then I did December 2nd, which looks like this. And I joined them on the back, on the wrong side, with a 3-needle bind off. And on the second, I only had that much yarn left. So I was very glad that I stopped when I stopped. So yeah, December 1st, December 2nd, December 3rd, and the 4th. So now I have the 4 for the width, and I'm going to do 6 down. And it's wider than this, I can't stretch it out because my cables are not long enough. And then I will knit a border all the way around, and I have a finished blanket at the end of December. So I'm going to do it like this. I started over here. I'm going to go over here, and the next square will go here on this side, so that this gray will go under this very colorful one. And I'm going to work my way over here. And I'm going to join everything with a 3-needle bind off, because that's just the most easy way to do it. Keep it nice and stretchy. So yeah, first 4 squares done, joined. I'm going to knit the 5th one and join it to this square here. So yeah, that's it for my blanket. Like I said, the pattern is called Buster. It is my pattern. It's a free download. You can go to Ravelry if you want to do a blanket like this and get this pattern and get started. I thought about doing the barn raising squares, but the barn raising squares, I think, start on the outside. And to me, that just doesn't make sense. If I'm not sure how much yarn I have, you know, I wanted to use up as much as possible from those skeins. So starting on the outside and running out, or having a big piece left over, it just wasn't what I wanted. So I started from the inside, and if you are looking for a pattern, here it is. This is my pattern. I did everything according to pattern. I wrote down how many stitches I had per side or per edge, and yeah, that's what I'm doing. If you want to do it like this as well, there is a hashtag that I am using together with someone else. We decided to do a knit along out of this, and the hashtag is OpalBusterCal. So if you want to join, do it, please. I'd love to see your advent calendar blankets. So one last thing for knitting in the present, and it also has to do with an advent calendar. I got sent an advent calendar by someone that I've known for quite a few years now through my blog first, because I have been writing a German knitting blog since 2006. Yeah, I think for a long time. And I kind of stopped now because it's getting too much. But I did write a blog for the majority of 10 years. And we were writing on that and now through Instagram. And she said, you know, I want to send you a little something. And I said, yeah, sure, send me a little something. That would be great. And she sent me an advent calendar. And every single day has a package that looks like this. It's wrapped. It has a number. So this is today's, and I have not opened it yet because there is also a skein of yarn that looks like this that has the numbers wound into it. So I have to knit until I reach my number 5, and then I can open the 5th package. And I decided to knit Miss Winkle by Martina Behm. The yarn that she used for my advent calendar is Dornröschenwolle. She's a German indie dyer. And I am knitting Miss Winkle by Martina Behm, which has these loopy things. And they almost drove me loopy because this is just... When you understand what she wants you to do, it's simple. But until you understand what she wants you to do, it's a bit fiddly. Let's say fiddly is a good word. So the shawl is going to look like this in the end. Pattern is called Miss Winkle. Pattern is by Martina Behm. You can have it as a single download on Ravelry in German and English, but I have this book. So it's in this one. And I'm knitting it out of my advent calendar yarn. So on Christmas Day, I will not only have an almost finished blanket that only needs a border, but also a finished shawl. So yeah, I'm a very, very lucky girl. When I opened that one, it's like, holy moly. Really? An advent calendar? That's incredible. I'm so blessed, and wow. Good. I think that's it for knitting in the present. It's enough, don't you think? So many things on the needles. But it's so much fun. I want to knit all day right now. And I shouldn't, because this will hurt my arms. Knitting the square for the blanket and the Miss Winkle should be all the knitting I do, because that's a lot of knitting. But it's not all the knitting that I do, because I'm not very good on restraining myself. So, okay. For knitting in the future, I didn't write down anything. I want to work on these things. I want to finish stuff, and then I'm going to decide what to start next. I have like 25 things upstairs ready to go. So I'm going to pick one of those and I'll tell you then. Now for spinning, I did some spinning. I went downstairs into my craft room and picked out 2 braids of yarn for a little combo spin. Not the one that I did my video on, but just a 1 braid second braid, ply them together. So this is the second braid, the one that I still have to spin. It is Shadowing Fiber Arts. Yes. It's a BFL. The colorway is Dumbledore. And I got it in the Gryffindor Yarn Club years ago. And the other skein that I decided on is also BFL, because I love BFL. The colorway is Katarine, or Katrin, or Katarine, or whatever. It's by Blue Dog Fibers. I have had this for years also. And I spun this up. It looks like this. So this is my finished bobbin. I spun it quite thick, fast. I didn't pay attention to anything really. I just spun it up in one evening on my bliss. And I didn't put a lot of twist in it, which you might be able to tell. So this is going to be a very loosey-goosey yarn. So this will be plied together. I think it's going to look great because there are reds and yellows in the top one and in the bottom one. So it will go together great, I think. So yeah, that's what I have been spinning. I also started another bobbin for the orange yarn for my friend, but I didn't bring it because I didn't want to break it. So I'm going to put this one back into my little Ziploc because Gizmo loves fiber. I have to keep the fiber secure. If you are a spinner or beginner spinner, I have not a tip, it's more like a advice. Always keep your end very fuzzy so you can find it easily. If you put a lot of twist into your end, it might just, you know, get lost on the bobbin because you won't be able to find it. But if you leave it like this, you know, you can always see this. And yeah, so that's what I do. You can do whatever you want. That's what I do. Good. Now, new stuff. I have a lot of new stuff because I got a lot of gifts again from people because people are amazing. So let's get this chair over here a bit so I can reach stuff. The first thing that I received in the mail was this beautiful skein of yarn. It's a DK weight and it sparkles. I'm not sure if you can see the sparkle. And this is from my wonderful friend Katrin. She sent it with some Welsh cakes that I cannot show you because I have eaten them. But yeah, this is a one-of-a-kind skein by Dye Candy. And I actually have never heard of them before, but I love this one. And I want to make a hat for myself with it. So that's the first thing. Then we had Knit Club and we did swap out little gifts and I brought the fiber and yarn that I received. I also got a cookie cutter in the shape of a sheep that is in the dishwasher right now. I received a hand-woven towel, tea towel from my friend that I didn't bring because it's in the wash. But I can show these things. I received fiber from my friend Barbara. She has an Etsy shop called Almrausch Wolle. I am going to link her shop in the show notes in the Ravelry group. So this is a superwash merino and polyamide blend. So this will be socks someday. And I love it. It's beautiful. And it's mine. So this was a gift from my friend Barbara. And also last time when we had spinning club in my house, she ran out of spinning fiber. And I said, you know, I might be able to help you with this. So I went downstairs and I brought some things up and said, you know, just choose what you want. And she chose a skein or a braid of fiber from Etherische Ulle. And it is a superwash BFL. And here is her card. Isn't that beautiful? I love her label. I love her, what's the word? The thingy. What's the word? It's not a label. It's a, I don't know. You know. So this is her card. And she decided to use this one braid and she spun it up and she plied it together. And then she said, you know, do you want to have a different braid in return, or do you want this one back, or do you want the money? And I said, you know what, I don't care. Do whatever you want. Do it the way you want. And she gave me the finished skein of yarn. You know, I always have to receive handspun. So this is the finished skein. It's a gradient, as you can see. It's very thin. I never spin that thin. So yes, here it is. I am going to knit socks. And I'm probably going to end up with one yellow and pink sock and one purple and pink sock, but I do not care. This will be socks for me. So thank you so much for giving this to me. I cannot wait to start it. It also smells really good. So socks in my future, because hand spun socks are just amazing. So yeah, those were the gifts from the club that I have here to show to you. Something popped up on my screen. I have to get rid of it because it drives me crazy. Okay. Okay, I'm still here. Now, next up, I'm going to show books that I bought because they're on top of this. I bought 2 books because, like I said, I'm in a colorwork mood. So I got this book. It's called Nordische Maschenträume, traditionelle Muster leicht gestrickt. And it is a translation, a German translation from a book. I'm not sure where it says. Is it in the front or in the back? It's in the back. It's a translation from the book Nordic Knitting Traditions by Susan Anderson Freed. So this is Nordic Knitting Traditions in German. And yeah, I got it. I'm going to show you the back so you can see a few of the things that are in here. And I'm quite happy. There are a lot of things in here that I like, and I'm going to knit some of them for sure. And then another German book, I know, right? I'm not sure what's going on here, but I got another German book, and it's by Vera Sannen, and it's called Lieblingspullover stricken. I actually have no idea if there is an English version of this book or not. I don't know. I'm gonna check. There are a lot of sweaters in here that I really like. And okay, says it doesn't say in the front and in the back. Nope. It actually looks like this is a German version only thing. I'm not sure because Vera Sannen, she lives in the US, I think, and her patterns are in English and German, all of them. So maybe this book will be available in English. I'm not sure, but I got it. I like it. I'm gonna knit some sweaters out of it in the future. Now I'm running out of space, like always. Good. Next, I received a wonderful parcel from Emily of Fibertown, and I was just blown away. So many wonderful things in this box. So the first thing is she sent me one of her project bags. And in here are other things that were in the parcel. That's why it's so heavy. Okay. So here it is. Project bag that she made. Here is her label. If you don't watch the Fibertown podcast, you really should. It's amazing. Emily knows so much about processing fiber and spinning and just, wow. Go over, watch a podcast. So I received this bag, which I will use for socks, of course. Then in here are stitch markers, and I'm already using one of those for my son. No, where is it? It's in my batat, in my blue batat. I have one of these. Then I have different tees, a seam ripper, because, you know, she seems to know that I'm not very good at sewing and I need to rip out stuff all the time. And my the seam ripper that I had used for the last two or 3 years is so blunt that I have to throw it away. So I'm very happy to have a new one. And also this cinnamon stick, cinnamon whisk, it's what it's called. It's decoration. And I have to find a place where I can hang it because I love it. I love the smell of cinnamon, but I'm very sensitive to smell. So I have to put it somewhere where it's wide and open space so the smell can, you know, thin out a bit, because I get a headache very easily. I would love to hang this in my little reading room upstairs where I spend most time knitting, but I wouldn't. I'm not able to do that. So I will find a wonderful way to use this. I might just pop it on my Christmas tree. Can I do that, or is there a special way to use these? Are they traditional for anything? Let me know. I don't want to, ruin the tradition here because I don't know stuff. But she also sent me chocolate, which, I love chocolate. And they're little pumpkins, little pumpkin chocolates. And I did not open them so far, I'm quite proud of myself. So these will get opened as soon as I'm done with this. And she sent me some unprocessed fiber. I have never processed fiber before. And they are Tunis, Clam Forest, Gotland, and Corriedale. So here the brown long ones are Gotland, and that's Corriedale, Clam Forest, and Tunis. And I have no idea what to do. I know that I have to wash them very gently, card, and spin. And I will do that. I will find out how it works. And then I'm gonna possibly do fingerless mittens or something like that with this yarn. And she also sent me a skein of hand spun. It looks like this. I'm not sure if it is a core spun or if it is a coreless core spun or just a single, but it does look like a coreless core spun, which I know that sounds weird, but there is a technique to do a core spun effect without an actual core. If you're a spinner, you know what I'm talking about. If not, just ignore me. Beautiful yarn. That's the importance here. I received a beautiful skein of yarn, and I want to make a cowl with it. I think it would be an amazing cowl. So that's what I will do with this. So Emily, thank you so much. She also, what she did, she wrapped everything in a gigantic piece of fabric. And I hope it will be enough for a skirt. And it's beautiful. So thank you so much, Emily. I am really, really happy with everything you sent. I cannot wait to use the yarn. And I'm really excited for this. Like I said, I've never processed my own fibers. So this is going to be an interesting first. Okay. Now. There's still more. I have one more gift and one more stuff that I bought. I'm going to show the stuff that I bought first because it is in here and the other stuff is over there and I need to clear my table. So yesterday I had a dentist appointment and I have the worst teeth ever. So I went to the dentist thinking it's only a cleaning. It's only a cleaning. It's going to be fine. I'm going to go home afterwards. And when I came in the door, she said, "Oh, hello. You have a double appointment today." And I said, "What? She said, "Yeah, you have a cleaning and then you have some dental work." And I said, No. I only have a cleaning. She said, "No, you don't." So wonderful. I went in for a cleaning and it took 2 hours until I got back out. And he had to do, my dentist, who is wonderful, he had to do work on 3 of my teeth because I have awful teeth. I brush them. It's not that I don't do stuff. They're just awful material. I can't do anything about that. And actually, yesterday, I got told that I brush my teeth too good because I just put on too much force. So I scrub the gums and they are inflamed a bit. And they always are because I brush too forcefully. Great, right? Go to the dentist and you get told that you brush your teeth too well. Wonderful. So after I got out, right across the street is my local fabric and yarn shop. So it's always the same thing. I go out this door, walk over the street, and go in that door to reward myself. And yesterday, what I needed was 70 centimeters of white lining fabric for something that I'm going to show later. And I got 70 centimeter white lining fabric. And while I was cutting that, I saw this fabric. It's a jersey. And it's amazing. Look at it. So I got 1.5 meters of this to make a molly top because this is just beautiful. Wonderful. Wonderful fabric. And then I was wandering around. I wanted to get some needle tips that she didn't have. And then I was looking at the yarn, and I shouldn't because I have so much, but yeah. I ended up buying yarn, and not just one skein, you know. These are gigantic skeins, by the way. This is Gomitolo, Gomitolo 200. It's a Lana Grossa yarn. It's a single. Oh, and it has white fiber from the lining fabric on it. It's a 50 polyamide or polyacryl and 50 virgin wool blend. And I got 2 skeins in this colorway. It does not look like it is the same colorway, but it is. It has the same lot number, the same colorway. I checked. And to go with these 2, I got one contrast color that looks like this. And I already know what I'm going to do with this. There is a pattern called Shell Seeker. It's by Heidi Kiermaier, and I've had this in my want to knit list forever. It is a normal sweater with a kangaroo pocket in the front, and it is striped. She uses 2 colors and does equal stripes, you know, like even stripes. And I am going to use these, and I'm going to do a double stripe length with this, and then just this striping. And I am going to knit the sweater as it's written, which is, I hope, top down. You know, do the sweater, do the pocket, do the sleeves, and whatever I have left after that, I'm just going to keep knitting and make it a tunic or even a dress. Because these are 200 grams each, and they have 700 meters. So I have 2,100 meters of yarn. That should be enough for a dress. And then I also picked up this knitting magazine, which is for the traditional clothing around here to, you know, make jackets to go with your dental. So yeah, that's what I got as a reward for going to the dentist and having more done than I had anticipated. And also I had to do 6 more appointments for next year. Because like I said, awful teeth. Wonderful. So I am going to clear the table because I have one more gift to show, and it's a very exciting one. And then there's more stuff to talk about. So I received a gift. You know, there was the Get Your Yarn Wishes Granted thing going on, and I did grant some wishes and send out stuff, and I asked for Reverie patterns, which I got some. Thank you so much if you were one of the people who gifted me one. And also I got contacted by a few people and said, you know, if you give me your address, I'll send you a little something in the mail. And I sent out my address to Cindy, and she said, yeah, I'm going to pop in a little something for you in the mail. I said, okay, fine. And you know, when you hear a little something, you expect maybe a skein of yarn and a bar of chocolate. And that's not a little something. She popped in a bit more than a little something. So I'm going to start with this one here. This one's for Tim. It's a toy. It's finger puppets, and I wouldn't let him have it until I showed it. So he can play with this today. So these are finger puppets. They have their own little home. So that's for Tim. And then she popped in chocolate. That's still, see, I haven't opened it yet. It's an assortment of chocolates from Seattle. As you can see, you know, it's the thing. She also popped in this assortment of 3 different kinds of cocoa. It's candy cane, salted caramel, and double chocolate cocoa. And these are heavy. And you know, when I got this box and I checked the person who sent it, you know, to know, oh, okay, it's from her. And then I looked at the price that she had to pay for postage, because German postage to the US is very cheap. Posting from the US to Germany isn't. So this costs a fortune to send over. And then she also popped in a wonderfully beautiful scarf that I'm thinking must have an alpaca content because it is so soft and so nice. It looks like this. And the card says specifically that it is for my mom, because, you know, as I'm having a rough time with losing my dad, my mom must have a tough time because he was her husband. So she popped in this for my mom, and I will give it to my mom when I see her next. And then there was yarn. 2 skeins of hand-dyed yarn, and this one is just to die for. It's from, what is it? Kickapoo sock. Okay, that's an interesting word. But it's beautiful. And she also popped in this skein of yarn. And she did write me that it is a hand-dyed yarn from an indie dyer. And that's not enough. She also sent me 3 skeins of handspun. We all know how I feel about receiving handspun, right? So I read this morning. This is a BFL. They're all Spunky Eclectic Club colorways. So that's a BFL, a 2-ply. This is a chain ply, and it's Falkland. And this is another 2-ply, and it's Scotland. A small something, really. I couldn't believe it. I immediately called for my husband and said, "You will not believe what I just received in the mail." All the things that I received in the mail are just amazing. But this just blew me away. 3 skeins of handspun yarn. I mean, that's just, oof. I love handspun yarn. And I love receiving handspun yarn, even though I am a spinner. So I'm not sure yet what to do with these. But they will become something for me. That's what I do know. So Cindy, thank you so much. I'm still quite blown away by this. So yeah, I'm gonna pop everything back. I'm gonna open this today. Uh-oh. Whew. Can you believe it? I couldn't. So, wow. Good. Now that's it for new stuff. It was quite a bit, but you know, that's just the way it is. Now for reading, listening, watching. I am listening to the 7th audiobook in the Harry Potter series in German, read by Felix von Manteuffel. I'm still enjoying it, but I'm still favoring Stephen Fry because I love Stephen Fry. Which brings me to what I'm watching. I'm watching QI because I love Stephen Fry and I love watching things where I can learn stuff and that are funny. So QI is amazing. And also, I'm watching the making of the Hobbit movies because it's so interesting that I just have to watch it once a year. And that's what I'm doing right now while knitting my opal blanket. So for sewing, I have a few small things for sewing. I showed my cardigan in my sewing episode and I finished it. I was afraid to do the buttonholes because I was afraid to, ruin the whole thing. And it worked out quite nice. The only buttonhole that is awful is the one at the bottom because there was no interfacing in this. I only have interfacing in the other 3 buttonholes. And the buttons go so well with the fabric that you almost can't see them. So yes, this is done. I used a simplicity pattern. It's in one of my books. The single pattern is a new look. That is what I know. But yeah. Let me check if I wrote it down last week. Yes, it's, no, I didn't write it down. The pattern is in Simplicity Magazine 03, issue 3, 2013. That's what I did write down. So that is my finished object for the week for sewing. And I have something started. And so here's what I've started. I've been I've been looking through this magazine here. This one, Diana Moden. It's issue number 52. No idea when it came out because they don't tell you. They just say it's issue number such and such. So, and while looking through this, I really liked this combination of cardigan and top. So I decided to recreate it, just a different color. Because I do love green, but I didn't have green fabric. So this is the top, the line drawing for the top here. And this is what I needed the white lining for. And this is the cardigan. So what I have done. I went looking in my stash and I came up with the cardigan fabric first because solid colored jersey I don't have a lot, but I found this one and I have cut all the pieces. I'm ready to go, you know, and this is like a purpley, pinkish purple. I think this is very true to color right now. And then I went looking for fabric for the top, which is out of a woven fabric. And I found this one that my friend, the Stitchinista, brought me back from a holiday in France. So these go together great, I think. And this is a viscose fabric or a rayon, and it is super thin. So I need the white lining fabric for this one. And also while looking through my stash, I found a piece of leftover fabric that was just teeny tiny. And I cut a natty top out of it. It's another jersey, and I could barely fit it in. I actually couldn't quite fit it in, so the sleeves are going to be a bit smaller. But it is a border print. So this is going to be the front with these girls on. And the back is this. And you can see I have quite a bit of fabric left here, or pattern with no fabric. But I'm going to make it work somehow. So yeah, this was one piece of fabric. So, you know, those birds were on top of those houses. And yeah, this is going to be another top to go with this cardigan because the colors go perfectly together. And I think this will work out great. So I have this outfit that I'm working on right now for sewing because I have a lot of, you know, single pieces of clothing that of course I could have done the cardigan and I would have found some t-shirt to wear with it, but why not try to make something that goes together, you know? If I have stuff in my house, I might as well try. So I'm talking a lot today. And also this is way longer than I wanted my podcasts to be, so I'm sorry. For everything else, I only have one thing written down, and that is thank you. Thank you for everyone who got in touch over the last couple weeks, and thank you for subscribing, for watching, for being here, for accepting me for who I am, for being okay with me being me and not editing this podcast, for one, because a lot of the big podcasts, they edit the heck out of their podcast, and you can see it. They're all very perfect. And I'm just not. I don't know how to edit. I could learn, but I don't want to. So thank you for accepting me for being me. That is important to me. So that's it for this week. I hope that I will be able to podcast next week, and I hope that I will be back to doing just a, you know, half-hour podcast, because that is what I wanted to do with this podcast. I don't like these long things, and yeah, I hope I'm able to go back to a normal schedule. Okay, so I hope you all have a wonderful week. Go over, join my Ravelry group if you haven't already, and I think that's it. I'm gonna talk to you again hopefully next week. Until then, enjoy everything you do. Bye.